The draft is tonight, so let's break down some prospects. Man, it is that time of year again. It is draft time, Uh, you wouldn't think we would be in a situation anymore where we'd have to have such a significant need in the draft. And yet here we are. We're surrounded by rumors and uncertainty about who we'll take, where we will take. And so there's just a lot of unknown questions. So obviously there's rumors with John Collins and moving up to 4 or 6 or 7 or whatever it is. But so for the prospects we have tonight, they're all where the Hawks would be drafting, so 16, about where they would be, and still possibly available, obviously. So, because there's obviously uncertainty about being able to draft 4 or 7, or where we're going to trade up, if we're going to trade up. So that's just like a little pre-notation that all these prospects are based in the 12 through 20 range, and like maybe they fall to us at 16. Who knows? So the first guy who I really like, Malachi Branham, the shooting guard out of Ohio State. He is 6'6" and 195. That's what he's listed as. To me, he's always appeared closer to 6'5" and 185, 190-ish. And so, but that's not really that much of a worry. Obviously, maybe like a bigger, bulkier guy to put at your 2 next to Trey, especially as you've seen with Herter, Bogey. Then they can sometimes get bullied on defense at the guard position. So maybe like a bigger guy, but not too much of a worry, especially because on the offensive end, he provides so much. He's super efficient. One of the most efficient players in the country last year, or one of the most efficient guards in the country last year, where he shot 41-ish% from 3. I don't remember exactly what it was. And then 53% of his inside the arc shots, which is just incredible efficiency for a freshman and a guard. And it's the modern NBA, so you always need more shooting. There were times where he flashed me on the score at large point totals. I think he had a few games where he reached 25, hit over 20. But there were times where he was scoring less than 10, less than 8 a game. And so obviously there's some concern about inconsistency, especially coming into the NBA. At this point where you're being competitive, you do want a more consistent player. But he did finish the year strong for Ohio State, which was huge. I always love seeing a player finish strong. Obviously, the best player on our team is the opposite of that. In his freshman year of college, he had a horrible second half, and that's why a lot of people were like, oh, stay away from him. He won't be able to survive an 82-game schedule. But I think a lot of that's just youth, especially with him. He's super young. He just turned 19 in May. He's going to be one of the youngest players drafted in the first round. But he has a super high ceiling just because he's 6'6" and can shoot the lights out already. Add the athleticism, which is easily doable with NBA-type trainers. The one thing about him, outside of size next to Trey, he probably won't fall to the Hawks because like I said, I'm pulling guys ranging from like 12 to 20 in mock drafts and stuff. So, in prospect rankings. So he was one of the higher ranked guys. There's not a great chance that he falls to Atlanta at 16. but there is a chance, and if he is there, he would probably be one of my favorite people for Schlenk to draft. And just because the efficiency that he could provide next to Trey, and then maybe allows you to trade one of your other 3-point shooters in Kevin or Bogey later in the year if he plays really well. Which who knows even if Nate will play them, as I'll say for a lot of these guys. And since we're talking about who knows whether Nate will play them or not, actually, Ty Ty Washington out of Kentucky, the 6'4", 190-pound point guard. Super good, but I mean, I don't think Schlenk and Fields are going to draft a backup rookie point guard again. I think they saw what happened with Reef. I think just point guard is so hard to draft in the later stages because you need experience, but you also oftentimes need to be young. And Ty has both of them, but his game isn't smooth. It's not a finished product at all by any means yet. So there's a chance that Schlenk and Fields pass on him if he does fall to us, because it's also not the biggest need. But there's a chance where he falls there. He's the best player available. And as Fields said in his interview, whatever it was, a week ago, he talked about how BPA has been a huge emphasis for them. And so who knows? There's always a chance, obviously. But I don't think you should waste a pick on him. But I think there's a chance, obviously, and that's why I have him up here. And so he has shown quality off-ball movement, off the ball, as well as the ability to play on the ball at times, which I think is a huge thing when you're thinking about point guards next to Trey, because obviously you don't want to have a guy who can't play off-ball when you have them next to Trey, because then if you have them next to Trey and you can't play off-ball, then you're hurting Trey's game at the same time. And he's a dog on defense, despite his size. I mean, 6'4" is not small by any means, but he would often run shooting guard probably just because, like I said, playing next to Trey. But he's scrappy on defense. He'll get in your face. He'll be a dog with you. And like me and Ty were talking about the other night, we need more dogs on this team. But he's 6'4". I think he's either 6'4" wingspan or close to that. So he doesn't really have the size to contest a lot of NBA wings, which he'll have to be guarding. And so that is a concern, obviously, next to Trey. And then I would say to end on him, though, he's versatile. The Hawks need more versatility. And he is young, so he's important. His improvement is definitely something that could happen. And I think drafting youth here is an emphasis that the Hawks should put on. Obviously, BPA has been something to talk about. But I always think drafting youth is a huge part of that, because I think drafting for upside rather than who the best player is right now is often a big thing, because as I'll get into people later, but there's some like 21, 22-year-olds that the Hawks can draft. And I'd rather them just draft a young guy who might be worse now but has 3 extra years to develop in the G League at pro-type levels that would help him become a better player at 22 than the guy who at 22 right now is. So you got to think about that. But obviously he does have the coaching. In Kentucky, they are always great at producing NBA level guys who are NBA ready pretty much right away. And I think that's a big part is programs that you come from, because I think that's an underrated part, obviously, because when you come from a program that has experience winning championships and developing NBA quality players and doing all this different stuff, you need that. I think it's a big emphasis on prospects, and he has that now because he played at Kentucky. The next guy, Tari Eason, he's the power forward at LSU. He did come out at 6'8", like 220-ish, and he did transfer from Cincinnati to LSU. Some people like to bring up the fact that, you transfer, you're quitting on your team. But I think it's obviously just you go to find a place where you can play, have success, and improve your draft stock in college. And he did that. In Baton Rouge, he thrived. And obviously, we just talked about it. Kentucky has that experienced coach who's been there for 20 years, and they're going to produce NBA quality guys throughout that entire program. LSU didn't have that. LSU went through a tumultuous time last year in their basketball program. Um, and so, with that, obviously, he did a good job, but it wasn't in a set system really ever. And you do wonder about transferring. I personally don't. Some people do. But some people see it as quitting on your team. What's up, Ty?
What's up, bro? How
Um,
we doing, man? It's hard. It's draft day, man. It's draft day.
Draft day.
Go ahead. You can continue with your point. I ain't want to cut you off.
Nah, you good. I think now that you hear it, I didn't ever think there would be like a time under Trey where draft day would be so huge again after like with all the rumors about John Collins trading up. Like, man, I didn't expect this.
Yeah, I really didn't. I mean, it's gonna be a fun day. I don't think we expected the day to be as fun as it's gonna be. Today is gonna be a real fun day. Um, we'll get to see what Landry Fields is as a GM. I think this is a Landry Fields test. We'll see what if he's gonna be aggressive, if he'll be more aggressive than Slink. Um, which I don't think so. I think JC is probably gonna get traded at this point. I think it's too many rumors for him not to at this point. But if he doesn't, then I mean we have to just run the team back. And we have to, like you said, the guys we're talking about now, we have to look at them because when you get past number 4, you're gonna be like, okay, so we're not going for the 4th pick. If we're not trade, if number 4 isn't traded, then you're gonna be like, okay, when we know we're not trading with Sacramento, but you still have to think about that Spurs pick, and we don't know about the whole thing with DeJounte. And he's been playing these superstars just been playing around like all season. So you never know. You just don't know if who's telling the truth, who's not. If they're just gonna play along with the rumors. So yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't think at this point you trade for Kings. I think if you were going to trade for the Kings pick, it would have happened already, because those talks have just been going on for so long. The DeJounte thing interests me because I would love DeJounte next to Trey, obviously, and you wonder maybe the Spurs could just lower their asking price just enough where the trade happens. I think that would really be interesting to me.
I think if DeJounte really like says I want to leave, then they're probably lower the asking price. Um, I don't know if he really wants to leave. Like we don't know why is he on the trade block for real. He might have wanted to leave. We don't know that story. You would think he wouldn't be, and he averaged almost a 20-point triple double, but you just never know.
Yeah,
And I think him next to Trey is going to be crazy.
him next to Trey would be insane, and it's Ben Cohen was talking about it in the Hawks chat. And for context, uh, the trade was talks were happening. He's talking about how this is a win now move, but it's not just a win now move, because Dejounte's still 25, so you have a base of Trey and Dejounte. For if you can keep them for the next decade, you'll always be in the playoffs, and if you can put the right pieces around them consistently, you'll be a contender for the next decade if you trade for him. And it's obviously then how good can Fields and Slank be in filling the gaps needed to fill around them? But you know,
I think we have good enough pieces that we can get past it, right? We can get past we can get past that what pieces we need. I really and truly I think we're gonna have to, if we go and get him, you're gonna have to go and get somebody, not get somebody else, but get some good role players. Because we have a lot of young role players, but you kind of want some vets. You're gonna want to try to get the long right back, and you're gonna want to keep Bogey, because I think Kev is gonna get traded if we gonna have to go and get him. Kev's gonna have to be in that trade. So that's a lot of, like I said, that's a lot to give up. But is it worth it for the future? Yeah, it's worth it because they're both young, and you can you can risk have some years, maybe you be bad, but with those two, you're never gonna be bad. You're gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah, and so like you said, finding the pieces that you have already and making sure you're smart with the trade. Um, and so it's just, you know, you got to find what you can find because that's really the GM's job. And like the Warriors, they were so good this year because their GM had their pieces in place and they just found the right people to put around them. Like who would have thought Kevon Looney, Gary Payton II, Andrew Wiggins, all Draymond Green, old now.
Especially Wig. I
Yeah,
think Wig
exactly.
is the most surprising one because I think a lot of people was writing Wig off. For him to come in and do what he did for that team and really help them in the finals and showed his true worth, like he was worth what they gave up. Let's be
Yeah,
honest, he
for
was
sure.
worth what they gave up.
Because you don't. I mean, the job he just did on Luka and Tatum in back-to-back rounds every single night, guarding them like 3/4 court press, and just being able to do that consistently while still giving you an efficient 15 on the other end every night. You don't. You're not in the same spot without him.
I think when he got drafted, that's what the goal was to make him.
Yeah.
And he's kind of game and coming. He's had the struggle for a while, but he's gotten into his final form. So I think they got him at the right point. And of course development with the Warriors is always really good. So that you can tell he kind of changed when he got there. So I think that's the thing. I think that you had to look at what they did over there to make him how he is now.
Yeah, like a lot of pressure came off him. He doesn't have to be this 25-point per game volume scorer that he was with the Timberwolves anymore. He can just be a quality defender, buy into his system, get his open shots because of Steph's gravity. You can find players like that, especially when you have Trey on your team. This guy with that magnitude of gravity on him, teammates are getting open shots every night. You just find guys who can thrive with that and just decide to buy in on the defensive end.
I think him and DeJounte, that's their that would be that pairing is you're gonna have the one of the better defensive guards in the league with one of the best offensive guards in the league. Like you can't beat that. You're gonna have really good defense and offense, and it might make Trey really look better on defense having DeJounte Murray next to him.
Yeah, as we saw, the defense wasn't nearly as bad when you added Capella. The
I think
defense got better.
the biggest question when it comes to that is the price too steep. Because personally, I'm not a big fan of gutting your team for one guy. Especially with that Drew Holiday trade. I mean, he worked out because they won a championship, but had they not won a championship, that would have been one of the dumbest trades of the last year. So it's just where do you feel this team is at currently, and can you make a deal like that? In my opinion.
Yeah, I think that they want like 3 first, and that's steep.
Yeah,
That's real steep.
along with numerous young players like potentially JC Herder was said. I remember.
We're not the Lakers, right? We're not just gonna go out here and buy picks. Like they bought Orlando's pick, really and truly. They gave them nothing but really. I think what was it? It was a future second and cash considerations, and they got the number 3 pick in the second round. Imagine how much cash they had to give him as consideration to get that
What I
pick.
don't understand is that as much as I love John Collins, why do you think it's so easy to trade up into the top 5? Like everybody just want John Collins the top 3, top 2. Like that's not how it works, bro. No matter what sport, you're not going to just trade into the top 5 like that. Especially when you're at 16. Come on now.
Yeah.
Like especially top 4 this year. Everybody in the top 4, or projected top 4, so Paolo, Jabari, Chet, and Ivy have a higher ceiling than Collins does. And if the team really buys into that ceiling that they have, then they're not going to trade that for John Collins in the 16.
Sacramento's not even considering the 4th pick with John. They talking about Harrison Barnes. So like,
yeah,
I'm gonna have to chill out on. Well, not y'all, but the fans. You're gonna have to chill out on trying to get every top 5 player. But we didn't suck bad enough, so that's just not how it's gonna work today. So we gonna have to wait this long time. 16. I know it's a hell of a long time to wait, but Be patient, because Travis Slink has found some gems before, and he will again.
This is the second. This is the second year in a row. I guess this is I guess we can congratulate the team where we haven't picked in the lottery since 2017.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't picked in the lottery in 2 years. So let's think about the rebuild. That's not bad. If we're going from 2017 to 2022, you've been able to get out the lottery in the last 2 years. That's not bad.
Yeah.
You don't fire your coach because you don't like him. Let's just throw that out there. We didn't made it from the ECF and back to the playoffs again. I don't care about that. Well, it was just the plan. The plan exists, and we made it, and we surpassed. Congratulate the team for one, man.
My thing is the fire Nate McMillan train. It has to be. I don't know what he did in a year to make people not like him as much. And I don't know if it was because the offense. Like I don't think the offense was as stagnant. I don't think the defense was really bad. I think we've had bad games, and we had two really bad games. I mean, we've had really bad games throughout that season, but we had injuries throughout the whole season as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to see it from all angles. Like he could coach what he could coach, and then he couldn't even be able to coach because he got COVID. So we've seen it. Like it last year was just not our year health wise. It was bad. It was really bad.
I think there are people that's just gonna have to understand that you can't always ride on the highs, bro. We got to the ECF. Yes, you need to improve and get better, but like it ain't gonna always be like that. It ain't gonna be. We don't have LeBron. We don't have Curry. We don't have Kevin Durant. All of them. We have Trae Young and Trae Young accessories right now. That's all we got. So you got to believe in the team for once. I'm sorry, and I say for once because Nate McMillan of all coaches took this team from when Lloyd Pierce was doing what he was doing all the way to the ECF in his first, if you want to call it full year, in his first full year. So I don't see the point of looking at certain people and saying, well, this guy needs to go. We need to bring in everybody from the 2015 team back in. We need to bring Coach Bud and his son back. We need to bring Kenny Atkinson back. Like I don't see the point of that.
Yeah, like you said, there's no point in firing a person if you don't have a plan that's going to rapidly improve your team. And nothing, when you fire McMillan, there's not an immediate plan that any of the fire McMillan train has to improve the team in a significant margin. And I think that's why also a lot of people are against a JC trade, because no trade right now that's been seen outside of maybe DeJounte, and it depends on the asking price, immediately improves your team considerably.
There's nobody right now that's on the market that improves the Hawks at power forward.
I mean, maybe Kevin Durant, but
like we're not gonna get Kevin Durant. I'm not even gonna dream about getting Kevin Durant.
Yeah, so, like it's what two right now. I legit can't think of a power forward that's even on the market right now outside of Jones. Like, what are we talking about? And Gallo, we know finna be gone, and Jalen Johnson isn't ready. So we're trying to take a step back and then say, hey, PJ Tucker, you want to come in? We don't even know if he even want to come here. So, like, we're really talking about taking a step back, like a monumental step back. And, some people are saying if we get Ivy and then we wait on him for a year, that's not how it works. It really did, especially with a team like this.
You in win now mode, you can't go get Ivy. I think win now, unless he comes in and just dominates, or if he just plays like an NBA vet, like if he plays like he's been in his third or fourth year in the league, then it's different. But I can't see him coming in like that. I don't think he's that level of like NBA, like being able to play level, that play style.
Well, my thing is, when has the last time we've really seen that? Like outside of like Anthony Edwards or somebody, like we don't often see them guys come out and really hit the ground hard. It takes a lump, especially with this new era. They have to take time. So like I don't get too hyped over the prospects. Yeah, they're cool. I hope they can grow and help the team. But like we did the same thing with Cam Reddish. And Cam Reddish was like he on a trading block again. So how am I supposed to feel about Ivy? We get the same rhetoric every time we get to a new draft, looking at shiny new toys, but we don't talk about how they're going to fit in the system and how they're going to develop and how they're actually going to benefit.
Cam being back on the trading block is nuts to me. I think that's that's crazy because when he won what did the guy call him on Reddit, the Bing Bong Ditcher. That's probably one of the funniest things I've ever heard. But the Bing Bong Ditcher, you know, like you got traded and we're all happy about getting traded, and then you got up there and then you even earned minutes. You couldn't even play. So now you're stuck up there, and now you want to get traded again.
Bing bong.
You're at the only person I can't think of a rookie or a guy in his third or fourth year that's done something like that. Even KPJ he only got traded once, and he got traded to Houston. So, and we know he had behavioral problems, but we don't really know what Cam was doing. But all we know is that when Cam left, we went on a 10-game win streak.
I think it was the fact that Cam got I don't know who told him, but he got into his head that you were better than him. You know, why are you coming off the bench? You should be starting. But it's like when you were out there, you got a little flashes, but when you missing assignments, you slow to react. Like for what he brought, that was exciting. He's a big part of it sucks. He didn't show that he was top 10 pick worthy. We seen way more moments from DeAndre Hunter like that. I know everybody's like, oh well, he had that one playoff game. So
he had the crazy game 6 versus the Bucks, even though we lost the game. He had like 30, like 20 something that game, something nuts.
Yeah, but what was crazy is that after that, apparently according to Kirshner, how that's his name, he said that Reddish requested out during the summer after that. Like, you just made the Eastern Conference Finals, and you're asking out? What?
Yeah. You weren't a key piece, but why would you want out? And we just made the Eastern Conference Finals.
Exactly.
That makes no sense. Like,
if any fan listens to this right now, stop blaming coach for people wanting out in the offseason prior to him even doing anything. Let me play like 4 games under Nate, and they're talking about, it's his fault. Like, come on, bro. What did he do?
Yeah, I think, and I was talking about it earlier, you have to find someone who comes from, obviously, Cam came from one of it, but you had to find a player who came from a college system where they create quality NBA players, and I think it helps with mindset because so often you get a guy who didn't come from one of those systems and they end up coming with a different attitude than NBA players should. And so I think it's a big underrated part of looking at draftees.
Yeah, I feel like Cam was supposed to be, remember, I don't know if y'all followed high school basketball, but Cam coming out of high school was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick. He was supposed to be that guy. He was better than Zion and RJ. And when he got the Duke, he kind of just fell under the hype. Like, he got hurt, and then everybody kind of forgot about him. Then he hit the game winner versus FSU, and everybody was like, "Oh, Cam Reddish is back." And like, okay, he had some flashes, and like, he's a very flashy player. He'll have really good games, and then he'll just suck or he'll get hurt.
Yeah,
you're like, dang, Cam, you just look good for these couple weeks, and then you hurt. You gone for a month or two. So I think the thing is, we have to watch. I don't know. You have to watch what he does and watch how he acted and see what happened. You have to follow it. You have to follow the storyline. And sometimes you just get too big for your own head. And I think that's what happened.
I would just say, tell people not to fall in love with a high school mixtape. Like, it's deeper than that for everybody. I know everybody's like, oh, he's picking out these shots. And then what you don't realize is he missing assignments. he's not in the playbook. You know, it's like this deeper thing when it comes to taking this player and believing that guy is going to be the next transcendent guy for your team.
Yeah. I think in this draft you have to look at guys who maybe aren't transcendent and eye-popping and maybe just fit into your scheme. But yeah.
I like I'm gonna talk about that. I can't. You got to say his name from Kansas.
Ochai Agbaji.
I like him. I hope he drops. I like him. I like a national championship player. Of course, you got Dre. This and that. Like he's I think he was a freshman. Was he a sophomore this year?
I think he was a sophomore this year.
Yeah.
Maybe he was a junior.
Something like that. I think he was. He's an older player. I think you said he's 22.
He's already 22.
Yeah. So, but I like older players. They kind of like Chris Duarte showed you what can happen when you get an older player. Yeah. Like he had a really good season. Like he had just clutch shots, game winning shot. Like summer league, he torched us. So, I think you happen to see he's such a good ball. I'm gonna say ball handler, but he's a good scorer. Like he can literally just catch lobs off vert. Like that's the thing. Like if you give him a lob, he's gonna go up and get it. And for Trey to have a two guard, that can catch lobs and can still handle, and like Trey doesn't have to really adjust his game a lot. You can do a lot of pick and roll with the guards, and they can do pick and ISOs and stuff like that. It gives Trey a little bit more flexibility about what he wants to do. So you give him enough, like I said, enough lob threats or enough people he can get the shot because he can hit a three. He can, like I said, he catch lobs. He can hit a three. He's inside out. His game is good. His mid range is good. His defense is he's big. He's taller, so he's going to play I would say average or elite defense. It has to see his development. I feel like with Nate, a lot of guys can play better defense than we think they can because he's good at playing defense and scheming around guys. So I think for our system, we need a strong two.
Yeah, he is a 3-and-D guy, so he'll be able to play good D.
My question would be to y'all. So who are the prospects that y'all know, like from day one, is going to play some solid defense?
That would be one. He would be one.
I've been looking at Tari Eason because I know I've heard that he's a multi-positional defender. I know he plays the three, but I do think for this scheme that Nick McMillan runs, the offense can come because we have Trae Young. But as far as playing off of that, that's the conundrum that we have.
Yeah. I gotta head out. Y'all two can keep talking, and hopefully we get a good player.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'll see you guys.
All right.
Yeah. We're not staying on the whole show. If you're in here watching, we're not staying on the whole draft. We about to get off in a minute too. I think that we have to watch we just have to watch what's going on now. In this next 20 minutes. Well, actually 15. Because 8:00 is the start of the draft. So it's gonna be a wild ride. Now Paolo, it's funny because everybody was saying Chet was going number one. Now they saying Paolo has a strong chance of going number one, which I thought he was gonna go number one anyway. So we'll see. I think he's gonna go number one.
Don't believe nothing when it comes to the draft. You don't hear it. You can hear Michael Jordan come back. Don't believe nothing.
Yeah. Don't believe it till the commissioner come up and say it.
Even with John Collins, everybody talking about his name in serious discussion. They've been wanting to remove him before it started Thursday night. I ain't heard a damn thing yet. That's what we say. Wait and see. Could it happen? Yeah. Will it happen? Probably not, especially for in my opinion, for the boatload they're asking for. I don't think it's for the team that we have now. You can't harbor your future for one dude. And I think DeJounte Murray is a solid player, but I just don't feel like that's the move.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think we like I said, we gotta wait. But yeah, guys, thank you everybody that came in here. Thank you, Devontae, for coming on. We'll be doing a lot. Well, of course, y'all will see us. I guess either tomorrow or Sunday. We'll do a sports report. Not just do all the sports in the city. Um, Saturday night, I guess I'll give y'all my reaction on Arch. Um, I'm not mad. I'm not upset. But I do want to see. Can't wait for them to join the SEC. I think that's what I can't wait for. Um, but thank you, Devonta. Any last words?
I just say this: respect whatever decision they make tonight. You know, it may not be what you like, but you're gonna have to deal with it. So, you know, if the John Collins is here, John Collins is here. If he's not, love the team, respect the team. Follow us on all social media platforms. That's at Philo_SP. That's GSHM underscore group. That's at Click It by Nature. Tell them about yours. Call on
That's
Tyrone.
it. Call on Toronto ATL.
Yeah, so follow us, and we follow back. I don't know why people be acting like they don't want to follow. I follow back. I'm not one of them people that just be like, "Oh, look at my numbers." Nah, I want to talk to you too. So go ahead and follow.
Yeah, I'll follow back. I got more followers. I follow more people than I got followers. So that should show you that I've tried to follow everybody back that follows me. So if come on there, I told like like I said, come on Saturday. I'll do it Saturday night and talk about it because that's such a dumb move. But I guess you got Stark and all of that. But like I said, Saturday night I'll talk about it. Like Devontae said, follow us on social media. I'm gonna start posting these on Spotify, so make sure you look out for it. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the podcast sources, they will be on there. So make sure you're looking out for it. I think that's it, Devontae. Let's get out of here. Peace.